Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at the most expensive, the most valuable, call them what you will, shiny Pokemon. We've done this for a few different kinds of Pokemon, but we have not yet talked about the shiny Pokemon. That seems like a pretty good thing to do today. Incidentally, if you are watching this video, that means that my son has probably just been born. And this is one of the videos I made a little bit in advance so that I could take a couple of days off of making videos, but you wouldn't have to take a couple of days off of watching videos. Incidentally, by now I'm probably extremely tired and I've not slept very well. So if you guys want to watch some extra videos to make me feel better, I would be delighted. So shiny Pokemon then, we've only had these come around twice in the past. We had the Shiny Vault subset within Hidden Fates, and we had the Shiny Vault subset coming along in Shining Fates. And I'll be honest with you, one of those sets, Hidden Fates, is older than the other, and one of those sets dominates this list more than the other. So let's have a gander, shall we? And in at number 10, I'm going to be cheating a little bit, because we basically got 3 Pokemon that all come in around about $20, so let's whack them all in here. We've got the Suicune from Shining Fates, Darkrai-GX from Hidden Fates, and Gardevoir-GX from Hidden Fates. Incidentally, I am going to do the very best I can to give you accurate prices here, but do bear in mind these prices fluctuate wildly, and so I've done my best. I have gone through and I've had a good old look, and I've looked at a bunch of websites, I've looked at eBay solds, I've tried to give you the best prices I can give you. But do bear in mind, especially on the top couple, these prices do fluctuate quite wildly. And what I can tell you about all of these Pokemon is that they are popular. People love Suicune, people love Darkrai, people love Gardevoir. Gardevoir was, of course, a very good card for a period of time. It did actually win the World Championships. The lovely Diego Casaraga did go and win the World Championships for that right after Burning Shadows released. It's a very cool card, but at this stage, it's long since rotated. The majority of the cards from Hidden Fates, I think all of them in fact, have actually long since rotated. So we are left with this situation where they're not legal. So the prices, and don't get me wrong, in Expanded, Gardevoir's kind of cool and expanded, but really what we're looking at here is cards which are just very popular Pokemon, and this makes a huge amount of sense. Gardevoir, Suicune, Darkrai, all very popular. Of course, Suicune is legal in the format at the moment, which is kind of lovely, but also, by the same token, it's not a card that's setting the world on fire, I think is fair to say. So coming in at number 9, we've got ourselves Greninja-GX, coming in at $22, just a smidge above. And I was always a fan of Greninja-GX. I always thought Greninja-GX was a pretty cool card, because when you evolve into it, you put 3 damage count on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and you've got that really nice attack that does 110 but shuffles back into your deck. We saw it being played quite a bit. We saw it in MEWTWO and MEWTWO-GX. It was a very cool card. Its time has passed, but Greninja's one of those ones which has been featured in the anime a fair bit. And the general rule is, if you're featured in the anime, you're going to end up being a pretty popular Pokemon. In at number 8, we've got Sizzle-GX, and this one is a little bit harder for me to explain away, quite frankly. Because I don't think Sizzle is anywhere near as popular as Pokemon like Greninja and Gardevoir. And in terms of playability, it was never as good as Greninja or Gardevoir. I mean, it's not a terrible card. 3 colorless energy, 200 damage to an evolution Pokemon as your GX attack is fine, but Sizzle never made an impact competitively like Greninja or Gardevoir did. So honestly, this is kind of confusing. I like Sizzle because as a colorblind person, some of these Pokemon, their shiny versions are, and don't forget these Shiny Vault Pokemon are all the shiny versions, some of them are so subtle it's hard for me to really tell them apart. I appreciate the ones that really make the effort to have proper shiny Pokemon, but this one seems like a bit of an aberration to me. Taking a little bit of a jump now, we've got Leafeon, which comes in at about $35, which, considering all the others, there was $5 between them, taking a $10 jump is pretty big. And I can explain to you why Leafeon is pretty gosh darn popular here. It's an evolution. And like so many of the other lists we looked at have been dominated by evolutions, so will this list also be dominated by evolutions. If you haven't guessed it yet, the EVs are hyper popular. This is one of the reasons why that EV Hero subset was such a slam dunk for Pokemon, and why Evolving Skies has ended up being such a popular set for Pokemon, because people love the EVs. And if you give us sets that are based around the EVs, that is going to bring the collectors out the woodwork. And if you make them good and playable, that's going to bring the players out of the woodwork as well. Incidentally, in Evolving Skies, a lot of those cards were playable. Not quite the same for Leafeon. I was always a big fan of the ability to let you heal from one of your Pokemon every turn, and GRANBLOOM-GX to let you evolve all of your bench basic Pokemon I always loved, but it never ended up being a truly stunning card. We then see another little bit of a jump up to number 6 with MEWTWO-GX, which comes in somewhere in the region of around about $45. Although again, do remember these fluctuate wildly. And Mewtwo, I mean, it's Mewtwo, right? Who doesn't love Mewtwo? Mewtwo has always been one of the most popular Pokemon and will probably always be one of the most popular Pokemon. And you may, if you saw my Hidden Fates opening of an Elite Trainer box, you will have seen me pull this card and be very happy indeed. And actually, this is not a bad card. The attack for free energy that does 200 damage and goes through any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, that did see a little bit of play back in the day. We did see Mewtwo be teched into some Malamar decks. And again, I'm not saying it was some kind of absolute over-the-top stunning card, but I'm telling you that this card saw play and found its way into a bunch of decks. And for that reason, it was cool. But the reason it ends up quite high on this list, very simply, is it's a very, very playable card indeed. Although, ironically, that Malamar did get a shiny version of it. Yeah. Didn't make it, ladies and gentlemen. Did not make it onto this list. Sorry. Coming in at number 5, we've got Espeon, and Espeon is one of those that I've actually listed at the same price as the previous Mewtwo, but generally speaking it tends to sell for a little bit more, so I've listed it a little bit higher. This is another one of those that has a super obvious shiny version, and I am delighted. And this was a really cool card. This saw a whole bunch of play. Divide was amazing. Put 10 damage counts on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. That did see a bunch of play. That was absolutely oppressive against decks that played smaller evolving Pokemon. But let's not beat around the bush here. The reason this ended up being such an expensive card is because it's Espeon, and everybody loves Espeon. In at number 4, with another fairly sizable jump, we've gone up by a third here. We've got SYLVEON-GX, and I told you the EVs were going to be dominating this list, and I meant it. Sylveon, again, we got a hyper-popular Pokemon. Sylveon seems to be, and correct me in the comments if you think I'm wrong about this, Sylveon seems to be slotting in behind Umbreon as the second most popular evolution. I am seeing a lot of love for Sylveon lately, in terms of the price of cards and how much people are loving it. And the fact of the matter is, Sylveon was actually a really, really good card. Because you had Magical Ribbon for a single energy to let you search for any free cards and put them into your hand. This was one of those decks where you would play a whole bunch of super annoying cards, search them out with Magical Ribbon, and make your opponent hate you. Plus, you had a GX attack to put 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached to them into their hand, which was also super annoying. I like Sylveon as a Pokemon. And recently I seem to keep pulling Sylveon chase cards, which is weird. But honestly, I did not like this card. This was an annoying card I did not like playing against. But if you give me a shiny, rare Sylveon card, I'm going to tell you it's going to be jumping up in price. But I also told you that Umbreon was the most popular of the evolutions, and that's why it comes in at number 3 at about $80. So again, we've jumped by about a third here. And it's just Umbreon. People adore Umbreon. It is the most popular of the evolutions. And don't get me wrong, right? It was a good card in its day. I know some people really liked it. GX that discarded any 2 energy was really good. That was a nice one. And I did see people actually playing this. There were a couple of people that topped big events with this card. But you can't tell me it was better than Sylveon, because it wasn't. And I don't think it was as good as Espeon either. This was not the best of the Evolution GXs. It just so happened to be an Umbreon card, and honestly, that's enough. Because the top 2 are both Charizard. In at number 2, we got Charizard VMAX, comes in at $120, so we've gone up by 50% here. And honestly, I know it's a little bit reductive to say it's Charizard, but I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, your answer here is, it's Charizard. It's Charizard VMAX, it is the shiny version of it, and it really is as simple as that. It's interesting, of course, because we have had a Rainbow Rare version of Charizard VMAX, came around in Champion's Path, which, I don't know, I mean, I prefer the shiny version personally, but you've got to think that there are a bunch of people that would be more than happy with the Rainbow Rare. As it stands, we've got both of those cards out there, and certainly in terms of Rainbow Rares, Charizard VMAX is right up there. But in terms of shiny Pokemon, it is right up there as well. $120 is a lot less than it was initially. It was initially selling for around $400-500. It's come down a bit since then, but the thing to remember is this is one of the 2 cards on the list from Shining Fates. And I'm bringing you the most expensive Shiny Vault Pokemon right now, so I'm giving you the actual list. But you gotta bear in mind that Shining Fates is much more recent than Hidden Fates. And whereas Hidden Fates has become very difficult to try and find at RRP, Shining Fates hasn't. I showed you the other day that Shining Fates was actually getting a reprint of Elite Trainer boxes, and it's been a little bit awkward to find lately. Shining Fates has started to go away, but this reprint is going to help massively. When we're a couple years down the line, I want to redo this list because it is very, very likely that we're actually going to see that Shining Fate starts taking up a slightly higher proportion. Having said that, and this really does bear in mind, if you look at the cards from Hidden Fates, which are on this list, we're basically talking Mewtwo and a bunch of Eevees. Like from 7 upwards, it's just Mewtwo and Eevees. I'm not sure there is anything in Shining Fates which is actually going to displace them. It's going to be the lower parts of the list that Shining Fates is playing with. Oh yeah, and obviously at number 1, it's Charizard GX. It is your shiny Charizard GX, and that shouldn't really surprise anyone. Charizard was always going to be number 1, and Charizard GX was always going to beat Charizard VMAX because it's an older card. It's as simple as that. I am very interested to see which one of these ends up settling higher, but Hidden Fates was before Pokemon started getting proper over-the-top nutty popular again. Shining Fates was really as that was kicking off, so I do get the feeling that we're going to see Charizard GX settling higher just because Hidden Fates didn't sell quite as much. It was a less popular set because Pokemon TCG as a whole was less popular at the time. And this isn't a particularly playable card. Neither the VMAX nor the GX were terribly playable. That really is not the point when we're talking about Charizard. When we're talking about Charizard, it really is all about it's Charizard. People love Charizard, and since right back in the base set of the Pokemon TCG, Charizard has been the most sought after card. If you were buying packs of base set when it was released, and I'm delighted to say that I was buying packs of base set when it was released, we were all trying to get Charizard. That's what we wanted. That was the entire point. We were all opening packs of Pokemon cards, hoping to pull that Charizard, and that was the case in Hidden Fates, and that was the case in Shining Fates, and it's going to be the case in a bunch of sets moving forward. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the popular ones, and now it's over to you guys. I'm delighted to say that I have pulled the Charizard GX and the MEWTWO-GX out of packs. I want to know which ones you've been pulling out of packs. I want to know which ones you've bought. I want to know which ones you like. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, well, you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.